Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another Astral interview. And here with me, I have Lorenzo. Lorenzo from Agora. We're excited to have you here. Thank you so much. We're honored to have you here.
My pleasure. Happy to be here. Yeah, it's fun to see you again. Fun to have this interview. It seems to be
Yes,
astral connections as I'm having a couple of related interviews this week, and
fun.
ours just came off the cuff yesterday, which is great. I love when things just kind of bounce in
Fall
the net.
into place, synchronize.
Yeah. I'm all for
So
that.
tell us a little bit about yourself, Lorenzo. Tell us a little bit about where you grew up, your childhood, a little bit about you before we go into the
Sure.
Agora.
I mean, nothing special in some ways. I grew up in Toronto. I have a rather large family. Three sisters. Just to give you a bit of background, they're all
Mm-hmm.
lawyers. They tried to fit me in the suit, and it didn't fit. I went to a poli sci class in university. Sat there for 2 days, and I said, "Oh no, 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 no!" I quit the next day and went to a creative science fiction writing college down the road,
Right.
and kind of grew from there. And you know I saw the world get a little crazy, and even when I was small, many years ago. And then I remember hearing a quote, all it takes for evil to take over the world is good people to do nothing. And when the opportunity came to do the New Agora newspaper, which we started about 11 years ago, with
So
with a good team.
tell me before you go into that, tell me
Sure.
what motivated you. What was the motivation behind even learning about the Agora or the opportunity?
Well, it's pretty fun in some ways. I mean, when I quit university, I became a stockbroker for about 8 or 9 years, right? Because I
Right.
wanted to still chase the dollar.
Right, of
And I remember
course.
they were just about to promote me near the end of that career, and I was sitting in the president's office. They were going to give me a lot of money, contract, and he goes, "All right, Lorenzo, we're just about to put the golden handcuffs on you." Right, is how he put it.
Right.
And suddenly I had this flash, of my life, and dying young
Yeah.
and having stress and all these things. And
Yeah.
literally, I quit the next day, sold everything, and I moved to Mexico. And I went to live in a small village on top of the mountain for a long time, and I saw all kinds of interesting ways that people were alive, different ways they did things, more than just sitting in a city and chasing money. And the
Yeah.
idea of spirituality, for lack of a better way to put it, started to flow in as a way of life, and how people were developing what they were doing. And then you
So
could say, we
define spirituality for you. What does that mean? What actually started flowing?
well, I was definitely locked in my head and sad because of it my whole life. I was
Right.
raised very square box sort of way. Get an education, make some money, get an education, make some money, get an education, make some money was drilled into me. And settle down, have a family, etc., etc. And my
Right.
heart kept saying, "There's got to be more. There's got to be more." And when I moved to Mexico, I saw dead people. I saw brujas, which is a Spanish for witches, I guess, at the time. I saw
Wow.
people do crazy things. I saw one lady give me an evil eye, which I didn't know what that meant. I still remember standing to wait for a bus. I was in a very small village up on top of a mountain, and I saw a lady, maybe a few, 100 feet away, something like that. She gave me a funny look, and I blinked, and then she was standing beside me, literally, like in the now. She just jumped, and that really told me there's more to the eye than what you can think about.
Right.
And I started to put together my dreams from when I was a little boy. I started to see, like when I was 14, and all the
Yeah.
other men were playing sports and doing what they were doing, starting to chase ladies, that sort of thing. I was reading Edgar Casey, The Sleeping Prophet. I was studying Neil.
Uh, right.
Uh, I had a teacher in junior high school, a math teacher, who mentioned some of his experiences. He had mentioned that when he was a younger lad, he was cutting some bushes, and
Uh-huh.
he was using a chainsaw or something of that nature, and cut himself very badly. Right, he was in the hospital dying, and he was recorded at the time speaking a foreign dead language, which was
Wow.
yeah, which came out of him. And he passed this kind of information along to me when I was 13, 14. We did a levitation at the time. There was a very large man or boy, I guess, in our class. Right, this was an extracurricular class after school, where people were doing whatever, tennis and sports and badminton and chess and
Right.
singing and dancing. And his was, kind of out of the box experiences, UFOs,
Right.
spirituality. And we
So you
levitated
were
this.
always interested in that.
Well, I was always an unusual boy. There's no doubt about it. And, so after moving around for a long time, I
So
was
tell
living.
me about that experiment though that you did.
Well, we levitated him quite simple. I mean, I still remember our fingers out like this. There were 6 of us around. Like I said, at the time, it was more unusual than it is now. Let's say for people to be
Yeah.
very overweight,
Yeah.
and he went up like a feather,
Wow.
or so it felt on my hands. And all of this kind of sat with me. I mean, I dropped it for a while. I turned 18 or 19. Started
Hmm.
doing, get some money, chase some ladies, the usual stuff that kind of hits you when you're that age. And then when
Right.
I got over that, when I hit 30, after traveling around, I remember I was in BC and I saw an ad in a paper for the general manager of a newspaper in Toronto, where I'm
Okay.
from originally. And usually when you do a resume, you kind of lie or you embellish, you make it sound like what they want to hear. And I was just very honest with this fellow. I said, I used to be a stockbroker. I've been an artist. I've been traveling around. I'm not sure what I'm doing, but my feeling is to, to be creative. I do some painting and poetry, etc. And he said, sounds good. Come to Toronto. I want to talk with you. Uh, and I've never done a newspaper, so I went. He interviewed me and he hired me right away. I worked for 3 years, but I worked for Snap downtown Toronto. Let's
Okay.
just say it was not the best of newspapers. It was kind of
Okay.
a point, take some pictures. McDonald's is giving charity to the women's fashion foundation or whatever,
Right.
and and it kind of started hurting me a little bit that I was doing this kind of work for information I didn't really believe in. So at the
Right.
moment, we're coming back to how we came to the new Agora. I remember saying, if I ever get a chance to run my own newspaper where I can share authentically helpful, real information, I'm going to take it.
Right.
And when I came back to BC, a roommate of mine picked up a copy. There was the Agora National that was run for about a year before it became the new Agora. And I
Right.
remember looking at it going, this is interesting, but I can do a better job.
Right.
And I went to talk with them, and eventually I bought out the paper with some other people we've been working with. We had a couple of partners at the time, and 12 years, lots of experience later.
So tell me, Agora International, what that was about, and how the new Agora is different. Can you,
Well, the Agora International was more of a point at all the bad things in the planet, and say, see, the politicians are doing bad things. See, the bank is doing bad things. See, your education was always, they were kind of pointing at, for lack of a better way, the conspiracies in the world,
mhm.
and basically saying, if those get fixed, we'll be okay. If those get fixed, we're
Right.
okay. If they change the banking system, we're okay. If you change the politicians, we're okay. If they stop the wars, we're
So the
okay.
responsibility was always placed outside rather than inside.
Right. Bingo. Yeah, exactly. So I
Okay.
remember, it was run by a bunch of hippies that were idealistic. Let's just say, it had the kind of money behind it that a lot of BC businesses at the time had,
Right.
and I found, just because you're a hippie doesn't mean you're loving. Just because you make a lot of money doing one thing or another doesn't mean you're very loving. And when you point your fingers, it doesn't change anything. Because when the
Mhm.
system outside changes, if you're who you are, you're who you are, right?
Yeah.
And so the hard work really is looking at yourself and seeing how you can change yourself, and how whether it's your diet or your actions or your love or your way of being or your belief systems or your lack of belief systems,
Hmm.
whatever
And
works.
outside, inside, anyways.
Yeah, outside, inside. So I found you really have to go inside to make some authentic changes for yourself. And
Right.
so when myself and our editor and one of our partners at the time, because I don't want it to sound like I ran the paper by myself, because we had tons of help over the years.
Right.
No, I could not have done it alone. We decided to make it more of a focus on self change, like inside, as you say.
Right. Right. Excellent. So tell me now. So we have the new Agora, and we also have the Common Ground, or we had the Common Ground around the same time. I mean, I remember when I was at Astral, we used to carry both your papers. So tell me how New Agora differentiates itself from Common Ground.
Well, I don't want to point, I don't want to throw asparagus as I talk
No,
about,
of course not.
and everyone, can use what they can use. But I think in some ways, let's just say I find the common ground still points outside for change.
Okay. Okay.
And we've decided to point inside. I guess that's a polite way of putting it. I mean, I've seen the common ground say that Greta Thunberg and the Green Revolution is great, or the
Yeah.
Prince of England and his ideas for a greener world is great. And it's still, in my opinion, looking outside yourself, saying someone's going to come and save you. There's a savior coming to help you with the green. There's the savior coming to help you with politics. There's the savior coming to help you with medicine. And anytime you take your personal responsibility and put it outside yourself, I think you're making yourself weak. I found you're making yourself susceptible to the winds of change,
Hmm.
and it doesn't really get to the core of the matter, because I have found personally, you are the author of your own life, right? You are the director of your own days, and you are responsible for every bit of your life, good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. And you have to take that full responsibility, in my opinion, in order to make the changes you would like to see for yourself.
So tell me, Lorenzo, because, okay, just to play devil's advocate a little bit, or God's advocate, I like to
No
say,
problem.
um, when I was at Astral and we used to carry both those papers, I didn't get that feel from the New Agora at the time, and so now I do get that feel. So what changed?
Well, we changed, I would say, but it's
Okay.
true. I'm not saying I jumped into the new Agora 11 years ago and suddenly I was a magically evolved being. No way. I
No,
was
of course
mean,
not.
I was selfish. I had to understand myself.
Right.
I had to see what was working, what wasn't working. I would say the Agora as a newspaper went through three levels of evolution. The first was still kind of pointing. There's no doubt you were saying, this person's evil, this system's
Yeah.
evil, the sucks,
Yeah.
the sugar will kill you, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and then we went to kind of sharing, then we went to the next point of sharing the good things. This
Right.
will help your diabetes. This is an alternative way to trade and be alive
Right.
for business. This is a better political system, let's say,
Right.
and that was better. And then it went to the third way at the end, where we started saying, well, how am I not nice to myself? How am I not nice to the world? So
Right.
eventually, it evolved.
It was
So
a it was a natural it was a natural evolution then. It was almost organic then in that sense.
yeah, I mean, I had to see how I wasn't happy. I'll go back to myself. It's like, all along those years, I made myself happier and stronger and healthier and more
Yeah.
energetic, and the paper was a reflection of that. I was going, oh, that doesn't work. I remember talking to a Green Party politician and
Right.
going, ooh, I wouldn't trust him. Like, I'm just
Right.
talking on a person to person basis.
Right.
Or people that are saying digital currency is better than other currency, or putting gold in your back pocket is better than fiat currency. And I'm going, I met people with lots of gold, and I met people in the Green Party, and I've met healers and psychics, and some people are very beautiful and nice, and some people are at the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm sure you've
Right.
had that experience. So I'm going, so what's
Yeah.
the difference?
Yeah.
I'm going, the difference is, how you are. If you're loving, you'll have a loving life. If you're caring, you'll have a caring life. If you're
Absolutely.
selfless, this will come back to you. And then at the end, when the paper was really getting popular, and this CV garbage hit, it really started to put even more in perspective, as to people started putting masks on, and people started getting afraid and jumping across the road when you're talking to them. And to me, they started to separate the people that were thinking for themselves. It was
Right.
easy to tell. And people that were taking information from outside themselves and taking it as rote or real without doing any research. And
Right. Well,
that's
the way I like to make the point right now that conspiracy theorists created fear, or it felt like they created fear. As you read about these conspiracy theories and you feel the fear of these conspiracy theories, now you look, and the reality is it's not the conspiracy theory that's making the fear for you. It's regular everyday your walk in life is creating the fear for you. So what a difference that is now.
it really is. It's been an amazing growth of evolution, like watching these things, and
Yeah.
and seeing just by the people you meet and what they're doing, what they're thinking. what's real and what's not,
Right.
what's working and what's not. And so, it's worked out very well. I mean, through challenge born, the bigger the stress, the more you can come out on the other side. And when you see the whole world is creating this big fear monster, or most of
Right.
the world anyways, then you can, from what I found, figure out that you're the author, even more so. You can see how loving stuff is still happening. Good things are still coming to your life. Our business is still growing, where other
Right.
businesses are dying. Just the other day, I was talking with our editor, who I work. Obviously, my
Tell
partner.
us about your editor. Tell us a little bit more about your editor. You keep
Well,
referring to him as your editor.
he's been a friend of mine for a long, long time. I met him, many years ago. So he's more than our editor. He's a cohort in the business, and he's the fellow that works behind the scenes right now. Making sure everything is beautiful, everything is well edited. He's the
Yeah.
final arbiter of all the information we share.
Yeah.
He's got a nose for BS, we'll say. So,
Right.
so as we've come to 11, 12 years now working on this, our new motto, so to speak, is authentically helpful. What you're sharing has to be authentically helpful according to our feelings. We make mistakes, of course, and,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and also to take things back home such that we want to have good business for ourselves, of course. Everyone wants
Absolutely.
abundance, everyone wants to be happy and healthy.
Yeah.
And we reiterated that, which is really funny, just a few days ago. Go, okay, moving forward this month, only authentically helpful people, only people that understand, we can help each other grow, only people that are sharing in ways that we feel our readers could benefit if they put actions into play for themselves. And then you called me, just yesterday, right? And
Yay.
yeah, and I literally had 3 or 4 people reach out yesterday, some of who I knew in the past, like yourself, and
Yeah.
some who were new, and so that these little bits are showing me that as soon as you make an internal change, your external world changes immediately.
Yeah.
The magic
It's
is
so true. It's so true. And I've been working on myself a lot lately too. Just with different methods, like the Sedona method, for example. I never knew about the Sedona method a month ago, but it came into my life as I decided with God that I want to make change in my
right.
internal reality, that certain things I'm thinking are causing things to happen outside of me that I don't want to happen anymore. So
Mm.
help me change, Lord. And all of a sudden, this new method comes into my life, and
Oh,
embark on that now.
what's the Sedona method?
The Stony method was started in Arizona, and the gentleman's name, Hale Dworkin. He's carrying it over from another guy, and it's a very simple method where you ask yourself questions, and you pause, and you let whatever you're feeling experience the feeling, and then as you feel that feeling, you ask for the permission of that feeling to change,
Mm.
essentially, and then you ask God in to allow for that change and to give light to that situation. And I found that just asking myself a few questions here and there changed my inner sensations, my inner feelings. I went from feeling frustrated to all of a sudden have a smile on my face. I see a different light to this, whatever it is, right? Just by taking a few hours out of my time to study this method and letting it be part of my life. And if you visit the website, that's all I do is I learn about new methods and new modalities and new teachers that want to share their message, that want to share their value of what they have. And not everything is for everybody, right? Everyone resonates to something different, and
Of course.
all we want to do is bring the right person to the right teacher, basically.
I mean, that's why, I found, like, I agree with you 100%. That's why in some ways when you're saying, political system is bad, or a rule is bad, or a law is bad. I mean, you can argue that till the cows come home, why
Yeah,
some,
absolutely.
one's better than the next. But, if you look at it from your heart, everyone, although we have a lot of things in common, everyone's path to
Yeah,
freedom is unique, because
absolutely.
everyone wants to
Absolutely.
say I'm unique, and they are,
Yeah,
right? Million, billion
absolutely.
snowflakes, they're all different. I've never, you can have a lot of similarities in people through their actions, but everyone's different.
Yeah,
Siblings, same parents, same house for 20 years are still drastically different. Everyone knows that, has an
yeah,
experience where their lives are completely, you know, opposite of each other or what have you. So it's very obvious that everyone needs something different to be happy, healthy, and free. You know,
Yes.
there's crossover commonalities, of course. And so if just logically looking at things, there can't be any rules for you, you know,
No,
other than don't hurt any, do no harm, you know, of course,
do no
that
harm. Exactly. Do unto others as you would have them do unto yourself. The magic rule, right?
works. You know, the funny thing is it all works,
Yeah.
and the abundance works. But you know, the other thing on the other side is, in some ways, you can't really prove that to anyone. That's the difference, I guess, working
No.
with spirit or working with God, if you say, or
Yeah.
working with big. I mean, it has to be a feeling, which is what I think. You know, the trick, if you want to call it a trick, and the beautiful way of being alive is you when it comes down to it, you have to trust yourself and you have to trust your
Yeah.
feelings. And
And that's it. That's the one thing we all have common. We all feel, whether even if we don't feel anything, that's a feeling, right? So that's the
true,
one thing we all have common. And we know when we feel good, we feel amazing, good things happen in our lives. And when we don't, bad things happen in our lives. No one can deny that.
true. I found that myself. You
Yeah.
know, when I'm happy, healthy, and giving and caring and
Yeah.
loving and sharing, and you know, coming to that agreement, my life is amazing, and I meet beautiful
Absolutely.
people, you know, and wonderful things happen immediately. And that's, you know, and bringing you here, so to speak, and me bringing and you bringing me there to yourself is an amazing metafictional way of proving this.
Collaboration. Absolutely.
You know, because suddenly
Absolutely. It's a,
your website wants to work with us. You know, we've been developing our platform for 9 months. You know, like nonstop almost, to get to a point where we can start welcoming energy like yours, and effectively, you know, help each other grow.
yeah.
And you know, you
It's
do what
about
you.
coming together. I mean, even when you think about this political thing, right? Left, right, there is no left or right. There is no good or bad. I mean, if we're all one and if we're all God, or as we claim that we're all one, then the only thing to do is hold the space of love, and then everything will fall into place. As the more of us do that, the more the things outside of us fall into place.
And the beautiful thing about that is you don't need to ask permission from anybody. You just do it.
Absolutely.
You don't need to ask for a politician to tell you it's okay. You know, you don't need
No.
a wife or a sibling or a boyfriend or a friend or a mother or a father or whatever. All you've
Right.
got to do is sit down by yourself in a room one day and say, this is what I'm doing. And then you have to be prepared for whatever that brings or takes away, you know,
Yeah.
from your life, and go with
Absolutely.
it. And that's the
Absolutely.
challenge and the beauty of being alive, in my opinion, is as long as you're breathing, you know, you can do all of that as fast as you choose to.
Absolutely. So tell everyone about the new Agora now, and how and what kind of articles. Tell us about your favorite article that you've done in all the time of new Agora
Okay.
that really lightens you up.
Well, a quick background then, what we've done and what we're doing. As mentioned, we've done the New Agora newspaper for 11 years. It was a free newspaper we gave away. At the
Yeah.
time, you know, I felt good information has to be free in many ways, because you know, you want equal access to everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I was sick once when I was in my 30s, and I remember looking for something that was going to help me. I forget, and I came across, and the information said, "Great, send us $300." And at the time, I didn't have $300, and I was really pissed off. You know, that being said, after 11 years of a free newspaper, in some ways untenable, you know, so it went online because, you know, print is very expensive.
Mhm.
And you know, now we're coming back with the new Now magazine in the spring, which will have a nominal cover price, because to be honest, having something that's of value should also, that's the other thing. If you value yourself, you have to, that's the other side of loving. You know, you can't just
Yeah.
love outside, you have to love yourself and value the work you do. And we
Right.
have an event coming, Freedom Now Festival,
Right.
also in the spring. Now, my favorite, and we'll share some links. I'm guessing below. People can come to our website,
Absolutely.
and on,
Absolutely.
and that. My favorite article. Interesting, interesting, interesting. What is my favorite article? Well, our editor's written some great articles for print over the years that he calls agorismo, which also can be found on our website. And his are all about basically noticing the monsters outside and the monsters inside, and how you can be happy, healthy, and free for yourself by taking responsibility. I would think, because some of these articles are on the same page, but it's basically the ones where self-empowerment comes back to your hands. I really have to say, I mean, we work with Julian Rose and I Am Psalms and Elva Thompson and a whole bunch of interesting other writers, which are sharing exclusive stuff with us coming up in the magazine. And I found what I like in the commonality underneath all of their articles is, yes, the world is crazy. Yes, the world is horrible. But, if you look into your heart and you find what you need, you can make life fantastic. So what I'm going to do is plug another article. It's not even an article, it's a website. I came across a website, Chiron the Last. It's a
Right.
beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Uh, and he just put out a heartfelt video basically discussing, so I will say, and it's an oath of health sovereignty. So I'm going to choose that as my favorite, because
Okay.
it's also been there's also an article that goes along with it. It's on our website and it's on his YouTube channel. Obviously, I'm assuming it's a him. I've never met the gentleman, but his voice sounds male.
Okay.
And he's basically said, this is what's going on with the monsters that are, trying to do bad things, let's say to you and your
Yeah.
family in the world, which is obvious. And this is me standing in my own sovereignty. And, my health is mine, and nobody is allowed to impose their will on me. And that's the end of that. you
Right.
know I'm allowed to make my own. And anybody, he said a really good quote, which was very intelligent. It was kind of like saying, if I have a headache, someone else takes an aspirin, I'll get better, right? Which is kind of the yeah,
Yeah.
the underlying modality of the current medicinal garbage. Let's say it's being pushed on everybody, like, you have to do something to make me healthy.
Right.
And it doesn't really work that way.
No.
It's an
Well,
impossible.
health, as you and I both know, health is a holistic thing. There's way more to being healthy than what appears physically in front of you. How you feel contributes to your health. How you think contributes to your health.
Course. The more you see yourself as a multidimensional being, and the more you see yourself as ultimately powerful, and the more you see yourself as changeable and capable of doing anything. I mean, people don't really understand what their imagination is for, in some ways,
Right.
myself included. Like, if you ask people what they want to imagine, maybe they want to imagine themselves younger or healthier or richer or whatever. But you can imagine anything. You can imagine yourself flying. You can imagine yourself dreaming into other worlds. You can imagine, basically whatever it is you feel like you can imagine. And it should be easy to imagine yourself healthy. But of course, on the other side of that, there's always work involved, right? That's
There
the bottom.
always a self
Always,
work.
you can't sit on your couch and just hope you get better. Usually
Yeah.
you've brought yourself to where you are in life, and if you have to bring yourself somewhere else,
And work is simply movement, right? It's just moving from doing what you're doing now to doing something that's going to better you. So work isn't exactly a bad term either, right? It's just moving. It's just making a change. It's just, you know, making a decision.
well, you don't get into shape without walking or moving. You right? You can't build muscles without some resistance. And all relationships are challenging. I don't know about everyone else, but there's always a challenge, to building a good
Absolutely.
relationship, friend, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, what have you, parents. And I found personally, the more effort I've put in, the better my relationships with everyone in my life who wants to build a better relationship with me. And if
Yes.
they don't, that's up to them as well. So it's an interesting juggling of release and acceptance and building,
Yeah.
make a better life. And
Right.
so I
And
can't.
trusting yourself and trusting your decisions.
Of course, you have to trust yourself. So I'm sorry I couldn't choose one article, but I think an overall feeling is self empowerment through self responsibility and and actions are my favorite articles. The ones that
So
say
tell
you
us
can do.
what exactly is Agora, anyways.
Well, Agora is an old word, right? It's several thousand words old. It's a Roman word, or I'm not sure. Maybe it goes back further than that. But it's simply a meeting place in a marketplace, right, where people get together to
Right.
exchange goods and ideas and services. So that's what
So
we
it's a
wanted.
two-way street. It's not just you giving them, they can contribute to you too, right?
That's why we had the new Agora. We wanted to open it up to everybody. We wanted to open it up
Right.
to everyone who's trying to be helpful.
Right.
And And on the right of that, how we came to our New Now magazine is Agora in Portuguese. Agora means now as well. So you come to the
Right.
spiritual side of things, the new now, which, you know, without being too airy fairy or, you know, oofy poofy, is just, it's a way that you can make your own life new now for you, you know, how you
Right.
choose to. So, you know, an Agora was simply a meeting place and a marketplace. We wanted to intelligently curate the kind of information and products and services that we feel our readers will find useful.
Right. Awesome. Amazing. I love that idea of you not only contributing to society, but letting society contribute to Agora.
We just wanted to open a window. Like
Yeah.
so long, I thought I was going to change the world. I was going to help everyone. I mean, going back to you seeing the evolution of our paper. You know, at first I thought I was going to help everyone. At first I thought I was going to change the world. Then you
Yeah.
realize you really can't. You can only help yourself.
Right.
So, you know, we open a window and an opportunity for people. If they choose to, they can come and help themselves. You
Right.
know, they come and everyone, as mentioned, needs something different. So you can have a whole range of
Yeah.
products, services, articles, direction, what have you. If it comes from the heart, I think it can help. And other than that, it can go anywhere.
Well, it's amazing. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to work with you. I'm excited to lead people to you, and I'm excited for us to collaborate together in serving humanity and them serving us, because it's about all of us. It's not just about us or them, right? It's about all of us
that,
together.
that that's what I found to be the difference. Is, you know, there's nothing wrong with making sure you're strong and healthy and happy and
Yeah.
abundant. Nothing wrong with that. So you have to value what you're doing. You value what other people are doing. You put it down on the table. You know, everyone's honest, and then you see if there's something there for you to work together. And, you know,
Absolutely.
that will make a good life. And then you don't have to worry about, you know, lockdowns or lockups
Yeah,
or
exactly.
any of these things. It's like, you know, the beauty about the current challenges, which I've found, is it's forcing people to find other ways to be alive. It's
Yeah.
forcing people to make other communities. It's forcing people to find other ways
Yeah.
to do business, so to speak,
Yeah.
to share.
And to
And
go within.
100%, 100%, because it's so crazy out there.
Yeah.
You just really can't, in my opinion, put your faith in anything going on
No,
outside yourself.
it's true.
But that's the beauty. If you put your faith
Yeah.
inside yourself, yeah, I mean, that's where spirit and God and whatever you want to call it, energy, is anyways. You know, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And of course, for it to be everywhere, it has to be inside you. So, you know, it's an interesting times, and it's an interesting ride. And I'm actually, you know, I feel a little sad for what they're doing to some of the children and the masks I see and things like that. But hey, you know, I had my own challenges and it's working out. So who knows? Who knows why there's such a stress on the planet right now?
Amazing. Okay. Well, Lorenzo, I've sort of exhausted my questions for
Okay.
you. Do you have anything you want to share with the audience that maybe I haven't asked you, or maybe you want to share
I would be
that's
delighted to.
important?
Join us. You know, come to the website, uagora.ca. You'll see what we're doing. You'll see what we're going to do. We have an email list. You can sign up. You know, if you want a better life, you have to do it for yourself. And we, you know, nobody can do it for you, but we're setting up a system whereby there will be some options and resources that at the very least will start you on a path, perhaps, of figuring out how to help yourself. And from there, who knows what's gonna go and what's gonna grow. And you know, we'd be delighted for contributions, participations, suggestions, new business, new ways to be alive, technologies, you know, what have you. If your heart is working and you want to share something helpful, we'd love to chat with you. And, you know, I really, really appreciate my time here today. So it was a surprise. I didn't expect it. And those are always the best. So thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lorenzo. It was an honor to have you. And I've been thinking about you this ever since January 1st for some reason. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm just going to contact him. And here we are.
I felt this is going to be a very good year. 2020 was really an event of clear seeing. And I think people really, really saw the garbage that society has brought itself to, shall we say, by
Yeah.
giving away responsibility towards anything, whether it's
Yeah.
money or a system or whatever.
Yeah.
And so in seeing that clearly, you have to take back power. And you know, and your responsibility. And I think that's what 2021 is going to be about. And I've had the same feeling of contacting people. So thank you for following through on your feelings. I really appreciate it. We really need more loving connections to help each other
Absolutely.
and allow
Absolutely.
people to come if they want
Thank
to.
you. Thank you. Thank you, Lorenzo.